Today on CityCast Philly, you might have heard from your block captain about the annual Philly Spring Cleanup event that's happening this weekend. It's the largest single-day cleanup event in the city. It kicks off the Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee cleaning season. Our producer, Abby Fritz, chatted with Dawn Woods, an administrator of the city-run committee. But they don't only worry about litter. They also manage our block captain program. In this episode, we learn about how block captains came to be and why the city needs more. It's Thursday, April 13th. I'm Trenae Nuri, and here's what Philly's talking about.
Why does Philly need block captains, and what even are they?
Yes, Philly needs block captains for sure. I mean, this city has had a long, I think, tumultuous relationship with litter. And, you know, you're always going to have people that care about the city and their surroundings. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't hurt to have those same people who care to take lead on their block to encourage other people to care.
And can you maybe describe for me a little bit of like what block captains are, what they do?
Sure. Block captains are block leaders mm-hmm. that help organize cleanups on their block. And it doesn't stop there for them. Block captains also help their neighbors in other ways in making sure that they are aware of the resources that are available to them that they get from us or other city agencies. Mm-hmm. So blocks that have block captains may get a little bit more attention and may even get services faster in some cases because a block captain called. I could call somewhere and say, hey, a block captain's not happy. Mm-hmm. They want their lighting fixed like right away, So sometimes we can get that maybe pushed to the top of the list. But yeah, it's very important to have block captains in Philly. Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I didn't even know block captains was a real thing. I just thought, the bossiest lady on the block was the block captain and you better do what she say because, back then, your neighbors could actually get you in trouble. They could go to your parent and say, hey, your kid is doing something wrong. But little did I know that there's a whole organization that supports block captains that they're a part of. And I'm proud to be a part of that organization today.
So they sound like, neighborhood representatives almost.
Absolutely. I mean, we consider them basically our partners.
And do you know who the first block captain in Philly was?
The first block captain in Philly, I would imagine that would be Miss Sigrid Craig. I don't know her. What I do know about her is that her husband was a wealthy businessman here in Philadelphia, and she was a housewife and a community organizer, or became a community organizer. I read an article once that talked about how she witnessed someone throwing garbage out of the window, a second or third floor window. Mm-hmm. And she was just fed up with, behavior like that. And she was very passionate about littered streets. And so she decided to start a campaign where she would ask neighbors on other blocks to let's come together, let's form a committee, let's talk about how we're going to get the litter off of the streets. And so she started that campaign, and she ultimately, I guess, could be considered the first block captain.
Do you know when this was?
I believe it was in the 1930s.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
Yes, a long time ago.
we have a long history of block captains. So Craig is kind of the person who came up with this first idea for the block captain in Philly. And I also read some articles too about Craig, how she started a cleanup, paint up, fix up program. Could you break that down for me?
Initially, once she decided to become Mrs. Craig, once she decided to become a community organizer, and they formed a formal committee and wanted to give it a name. That was the initial name. I mean, it was sort of the same premise as what we have today, but the clean up, paint up, fix up campaign was led by her, and her committee is pretty much what they called it. So they didn't limit themselves to litter and cleaning litter, but houses, or just encouraging people to keep proper maintenance on their homes. Like, she encouraged blocks to paint curbs and to repair or paint steps or wooden porches, or even to keep the iron rails nice and shiny, to repaint those when they start getting rusted.
She organized a lot of people, correct?
She did organize a lot of people. I think throughout her reign specifically, or the time that she was involved, she organized about 3,000 blocks.
Wow.
So she was able to turn a small committee into a whole organization of about 3,000 block captains.
So Dawn, this unofficial program that Craig started became the Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee in the mid-'60s. How did it change when it became official, and what did the city bring to the table?
It appears to me, even just from looking at I do have pictures from way back when, right? From the 50s. I loved how the women still were wearing dresses. Even as they were cleaning, they had on a dress. But I was able to see where supplies were afforded to block captains. And they have pictures of folks that were inside of people's homes where they have block meetings. Mm-hmm. But in the picture, you always see a group of brooms, shovels. You can see just how organized it really was. So I'm going to say that it's probably not much different from that, because we do afford these supplies to block captains, the same as it was done back then. Mm-hmm. PMBC, we've since added another 3,000 block captains to the block captains that were already in place. Or at least the number of block captains that were already in place.
So does that mean that the city has 6,000 block captains right now?
That is correct. The city has 6,000 block captains, and we're working hard at recruiting block captains every day.
And you've been with this committee for 10 years. How have you seen it change and evolve, with the times?
The Clean Block contest is our favorite portion of doing PMBC. It's our favorite program, or part of this program. And I've seen where they may have had a few blocks that would participate in the contest. And even back then, sometimes it would get up to 30 blocks in the contest. And I'm not sure exactly how they did the contest back then. Mm-hmm. I know they did it on weekdays. And one thing I noticed that seemed to be lacking was the amount of people that would be out to support the block captain. So we've been able to increase that number by moving the contest days to Saturdays. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure how recruitment to get block captains, and I would love to know that. I would love to know how they went about getting folks from any particular block. Did they canvass blocks the way we do? If we know that there's not a block captain on a block, we'll go to that block and we'll knock on each and every door, trying to encourage somebody to step up and take lead as block captain on a block. We encourage block captains to build a team. We're very adamant about get you a co-captain, get yourself a junior captain. Somebody's got to do the running up and down the street, right? Make all the children between the ages of 7 and 17 a junior block captain. There's no limit to how you build your team. We also encourage them to have a treasurer and a secretary, and just build a whole block club, open up a 501c, collect dues, save money for projects that you all agree would help to beautify your block. So I'm not sure if it was done that way then, but this is our goal for every block.
Making it into a community organization almost.
Absolutely.
Do other cities have similar programs?
Not that I'm aware of. And I do get phone calls from city officials in other cities asking about the block captain program, asking me to send literature, and they're interested in starting such a program. So I don't know if anybody actually succeeded.
Why is Philly special in this way that, we have block captains? Why does it work here for the city?
Well, we have a pretty big city, and I think this block captain program is important, and I think that it works for this city because the residents in this city and the passion that they have for their city. You have some really diehards that won't give up and want to bring their block back to the glory that they once knew. You'll hear people all the time talk about how, I remember how I used to be out there scrubbing the steps with the bleach and I too remember that. And, neighbors could rely on that. One of the things that seem to have changed, and not necessarily for the better, is a block being described as a village. We seem to have maybe gotten away from that. And I would love to get back to that, a village being a group of neighbors who can rely on each other. So we're working on getting that village back.
Dawn Woods, thank you so much for being here on CityCast Philly, and thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
And here's what else Philly's talking about. The Philadelphia Police Department requested $855 million during its budget hearing this week. According to NBC 10, the department says the 5% increase would fund job recruitment with a focus on diversity, contractually obligated pay raises, and the continuation of its body camera program. And the annual Philly Spring Cleanup event is happening this Saturday, April 15th, after the original date was postponed due to all that rain we got. For more info on where you can volunteer, go to phila.gov/streets. It's time for the tip of the day, where we share a life hack for living in Philly. Want to be a block captain? Contact the Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee at 215-685-3971. We'll also have the link to the form you can fill out in our show notes. If you have a tip of the day, we'd love to hear from you too. Call or text us at 215-259-8170. That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode about the Block Captain program, please tell your neighbor, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter too. It's called Hey Philly. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.